So there's that same blood vessel. When it is in the forearm, because there's the elbow right there. So when it's in the forearm area, on the thumb side, it's called the radius or radial. When it is in the upper arm area, it's called the brachial, upper arm. When it's in the armpit area, it is called the axillary. And when it's in the body cavity, it is called the subclavian. Same vein, different names, different locations. Right? Then, folks, this one that branches off. So let me take all of that. So you've got that, right? So let me take all of these out here now. So now we see branching off the subclavian. This one runs under. So let me not use. So from the subclavian, this one runs under the scapula. And the root of the word for under the scapula is subscapular. So there is the subscapular right there. So that is the subclavian, and that one that runs underneath the scapula is the subscapular. Right there. So in 2 weeks' time when we come back, 3 weeks' time when we come back after the break, I will review all of this with us again, folks. And what's going to happen is those arteries that run next to the vein, right there in the upper and lower limbs, they will take the same names. So we've learned subclavian, axillary, brachial, radial vein. In the arteries, it's going to just be the same name for the artery. Subclavian, axillary, brachial, radial, artery. Subscapular, artery. Of course, jugular is the vein. And what is the artery next to the jugular? Carotid. No, not jugular. Carotid artery right there.
I have a question about the line diagram. For the internal jugular, is it the little tiny one?
Yeah, so the internal jugular is going to be that one and that one. Right there, left and right. Notice left and right, folks. Most blood vessels, left and right. Azygos only on the right-hand side. There's only one azygos. But if it's symmetrical, like that in the limbs, there's a left and a right side. All right, there'll be some. Now when we go into the below the heart, many of these blood vessels, there may only be one. All right, so now let's continue on. Now, are there any questions as we continue on? All right, so let's have a look here now. So let's tilt this over here. So we saw the internal jugular right there. So there's the internal jugular, and there's nothing against the internal jugular right there, folks. And then there's the diaphragm. The diaphragm separates the thoracic from the abdominal pelvic cavity. All right, so now we tilt this over right here on the, so the organs I'm going to pull over to the right hand side. All right, so now there we are looking on the left hand side. So what do we see here? We see right there the adrenal gland right there. So there, notice there's the adrenal gland. And on the human, we cut through the adrenal gland and we saw an outer cortex and an inner medulla. All right, now here's the thing, folks. The human adrenal gland sits right there. That's where the human adrenal gland sits, right above the kidney. All right, notice on the cat, it is a little ways away from the kidney. Small organ, small. And then notice this massive vein that runs across the adrenal gland. And that vein is called the adrenolumbar vein. Adrenolumbar vein right there. And remember now which two neurotransmitters / hormones are going to be transported to that through the body very, very fast. Epi and no, because they part of what major function? The fight-flight response. Right there to get that fight-flight response going. Right? So all of this right here, folks, is the inferior, it's the inferior vena cava, or the IVC. So all of that. So there you can see running all the way down to the limbs, and then it splits into a Y down there again. All right? So there's the adrenal gland and the adrenolumbar vein. Then over here is the kidney. There's the left kidney, and there's the renal vein. And this right here, folks, notice this looks exactly like this. If I put the dura mater of the brain here, look exactly like that as well. Irregular collagen fibers, that's called the parietal pericardium, that's called the renal capsule wrapping around the kidney. Kidney renal. Right? So there's the renal vein. Then we continue down, and there's the inferior vena cava. Now, please note right here, because we're not going to see this on the fetal pig. All right? There, folks, on the left-hand side, draining into the left renal vein right there is this vein right here. And that vein is called the genital or the gonadal vein. Genital or gonadal. So we start out by being generic. Genital or gonadal. Then we determine the gender of the cat, and there's the testes. Testes male. If it were female, the ovaries would have been over there. That's where the ovaries would be. And we will see a female cat, and we'll also see, and we'll see how nice and big that's going to be on the cat, and how indistinct it still is in the fetal pig. Right? So this genital vein right here, folks, actually is that right there. So there's the artery and there's the vein that does not have any blood in it. For your question earlier about the internal jugular, the testicular vein is going to be the same thing, where it's so small, hard to get blue paint into it. So there's the testicular artery, there's the testicular vein. That comes out of that. So there's the testicular vein from the testes running all the way up. So the first thing we do, folks, is we call it the genital or gonadal vein. That's generic. Then what is the gender of the cat? So now we know this is a male, and now what happens? Now we call that the testicular vein. Testicular vein. If it were a female, then this vein will run from there up this way, and so genital, and then because it's a female coming out of the ovary, we will then call it the ovarian vein. So look at how you use that. It's a two-step process, right? And that runs into the left renal vein. Notice there's nothing on the right-hand side. There's nothing on the right-hand side of the renal vein, all right? On the right-hand side, folks, let me tilt this over here so you can see this. On the right-hand side, the testicular, and it's shredded here. Okay, there we go. On the right-hand side, there is where the genital vein right there runs, and in this case testicular. So come see. So where does it run to on the right-hand side? It runs into the inferior vena cava. You can see the diagram right there. So there is the genital, and in this case testicular, running into the inferior vena cava. There we see it right there.
So one side runs into the renal.
Left-hand side into the renal vein, right-hand side into the inferior vena cava. All right? So we just tilt this over again. So there's the inferior vena cava. It continues down, and then it bifurcates or it branches, and there you can see the branching right there. So there's the right side, there's the left side. Right? There's the right side, there's the left side. And now it's going to go towards the legs. All right, so let's have a look here, folks. So let me close this up. So this is in the body cavity. That's in the body cavity. All right? So the vein, while it is still in the body cavity, is called the common iliac vein. So there is the common iliac vein right there. So that's the common iliac vein right there in the body cavity. You can see there's the body cavity, right? So in the body cavity, common iliac. There it's on the outside, so that's in the body cavity, and there it's leaving the body cavity now into the limb. So inside it's called common iliac. Outside, now what is this thigh area called? Femoral. So there's the femoral or femoral vein. So common iliac in the body cavity. Common iliac in the body cavity, femoral outside the body cavity. And notice right here, folks, we'll just do all three of them right now. Right there is the blue femoral vein, there's the pink femoral artery, and there's the cream femoral nerve. All have the same names. All have the same names. All right? So it continues on. Then we see this branching right here, T-junction right here, which we don't have. So this vein right here only on these four-legged animals or animals with tails. Because what is that artery and that vein called? It's called the caudofemoralis artery and vein. Femoralis, femoral, thigh area. Caudal pertains to what? The tail. There's the tail. we cut the tail off. There's the tail. There's the tails. We cut it off because we don't want chemicals splashing on us and stuff. So the caudofemoralis artery and vein is associated with that. And what is the function of the tail, folks? Balance, counterbalance. So when this cat is turning to the left, the tail turns to the right, so it doesn't roll. When this cat turns to the right, the tail turns to the left, so the cat doesn't roll over. So it's a counterbalance. All right? So caudofemoralis branches off the femoral, and then we continue on, and then what do we see, folks? And on this cat, beautifully right here, we see another branching. We see another branching right there. So we see that one, and we see that one right there. All right? So what are those? This one that comes from the lower leg is called the saphenous vein, or saphenous vein right there. All right, and again, I drew it nice and long because it's a long one. This diagram that you have, the initial one is way long, comes from the lower leg. And then the one behind the knee is called the popliteal. Popliteal behind the knee. They join, folks. I'm just going to slide this up because that is where the femoral vein starts, where they form the bifurcation or the branching. So this way down here is the femoral vein, and it stops when it goes into the body cavity. It is the common iliac. Common iliac. All right. So saphenous from the lower leg, superficial. And we'll talk about the saphenous again when we get to the heart physiology, because that's one of the nerves we use for bypass surgeries. And then behind the knee, the popliteal. All right? All right, questions on the veins. All right, so this cat is available for you. I will leave it out here on this tray, folks, so you can have a look at that, take photos if you want to, put it next to your diagram and stuff like that. There's another cat right there. I'll take that one out as well. I'll put that on another tray for you as well. So there's 2 cats for you to look at, to review and stuff. All right? Fauna's brought gloves. You want gloves?